So, put your seatbelts on, ladies and gentlemen. We're in here now for the big view. Through here, 3 kilometers. Behind us, 20,000 workers. A building that is still under construction, ladies and gentlemen. Hello and good evening, everybody. Welcome back to a familiar place and another episode of Traveling the World using Google Maps Street View imagery. A familiar place, you say? Map runner? Yes. We'll be back in Romania today. And to the ones amongst you who are perhaps rightly acknowledging that this is already my second time in Romania, even though I could travel the whole world. Yes, you are very right. But I like Romania, and today I have something so interesting and special for you that you'll probably forget about the rest of the world, you know? What's so relevant about the world out there when we can be at the Palace of the Parliament? Yes, that's right. The Palace of the Parliament in Romania's capital, Bucharest. As usual, I have to give you a few facts about this building just to get you all hyped up. Because also there are a lot of very interesting facts about this building. To start off with, I'm gonna go through this little text here together with you. And I will start here. Work on the palace began in 1984, when this Big Brother book was written as well, yeah? And it has yet to be finished. There are parts where workers are still putting up wall and ceiling tiles and decorations, while other parts are already undergoing refurbishments. At its height, the site swarmed with 20,000 workers, 5,000 soldiers, 700 architects working all around the clock. Let that sink in. Fitting for a totalitarian regime, the building holds an impressive list of world records. It's currently the heaviest building on the planet, with 1.5 billion pounds of steel and bronze, 35 million cubic feet of marble, 7.7 million cubic feet of glass and crystal, and 32 million cubic feet of wood. It has 1,100 rooms, 2,800 chandeliers, the largest one weighs 11,000 pounds. One of the meeting halls has a podium at one end where Ceausescu's armchair is on. The building rises 9 stories above ground and also has 9 levels underground. There are nuclear bunkers for thousands of people in the basement, 2 parking lots for trucks and buses, and allegedly secret tunnels leading to the other government buildings in the area. Well, we're not going to explore those. To make room for such a large project, an entire neighborhood and parts of 3 others were razed to the ground overnight. People received notice in the morning to pack up and leave, and by noon the bulldozers arrived and started demolishing everything in sight. A total of 40,000 people were displaced and 9,000 houses were demolished. Several monuments and churches were also destroyed, including a monastery dating back to 1564. Who has come up with this? Nicolae Ceausescu was a Romanian communist politician and statesman, general secretary of the Romanian Communist Party, which I suppose is something like, president. But he was a dictator. To give you an idea of who he was, I'm going to read you this paragraph here. Upon his rise to power, he eased press censorship and openly condemned the Warsaw Pact invasion of Czechoslovakia in his speech, blah blah blah, which resulted in a surge in popularity. However, the resulting period of stability was brief, as his government soon became totalitarian and was considered the most repressive in the Eastern Bloc at the time. His secret police, the Securitate, was responsible for mass surveillance, as well as severe repression and human rights abuses within the country, and controlled the media and press. Ceausescu's attempts to implement policies that would lead to a significant growth of the population led to a growing number of unsafe abortions and increased the number of orphans in state institutions. Economic mismanagement due to failed oil ventures during the 1970s led to skyrocketing foreign debts for Romania. His cult of personality experienced unprecedented elevation, followed by the deterioration of foreign relations, even with the Soviet Union. Absolute bad guy. And the demonstrations, 1989, Soviet bloc is collapsing, so on and so forth. The demonstrations for freedom in communist Romania, which reached Bucharest, became known as the Romanian Revolution, the only violent overthrow of a communist government in the course of the revolutions of 1989. Ceausescu and his wife Elena fled the capital in a helicopter, but they were captured by the military after the armed forces. The fact that after being tried and convicted of economic sabotage and genocide, both were sentenced to death, and they were immediately executed by a firing squad on 25th of December 1989. Didn't live to 1990. Hopefully we will. What sense does that make to say? I think it is time for us to go onto the map. Now, I apologize for this, text-heavy, longer introduction. I hope you found it interesting, because I think it is, it's generally necessary to know a little bit of context, especially when you admire something that I would say is quite astonishing and somewhat beautiful, and you know the kind of terrible working conditions, perhaps some kind of, slavery and displacement of residents that is actually behind this. So you have two sides of a story, which I suppose is generally desirable to have. If we talk about the building itself, you see that the building, which is here, let's put the marker down, but you see the gigantic area, including this Boulevard Ionirii, that all kind of aims at the building, The building, for starters, has a massive site. It's massive alone, but it has a massive site around it. To give you an idea, 1.1 kilometers, 1.7, 2, 3 kilometers. Oopsie. So it's over 4 kilometers to walk around the area, or everything that belongs to the area. More impressively, this boulevard that leads straight to it is in and by itself 3 kilometers long. So you could look at the building. In the end, we can't really, I've checked it because there are, trees in the way, but you can look at the massive building in the end from so far away. It's a demonstration of power, that you can just erase entire districts and build your palace there. So my idea was, for our little journey, to put the marker down. Maybe not necessarily so that we immediately see the building. So it should be now on our left, but to travel around it once, arrive at the frontal view, and then I've discovered something very special. So please stay to the end, and I hope you're gonna enjoy this as much as I do. So first of all, everything is fenced off and gated off. And Romania's capital, Bucharest, is a city that is quite massive. Not necessarily in terms of population, but it has big, long boulevards, just as you would expect from a former communist, socialist place. And, this street around the palace, which is now on the left, is no exception to that. It gets further sort of like highlighted by the massiveness of some buildings that are on the side of it. I mean, look at this, for example, absolutely massive in and by itself, but nothing compared to what we are about to see. I have no idea what this is. The Romanian flag is waving there, so I guess it's also some kind of government area, which somehow raises the question to me if the palace is used as a government building today. I mean, why wouldn't it, you know? It is the heaviest, largest and most expensive administrative building in the world, as Wikipedia states. But is it still used? %70 of the building remains empty. Well, I guess it's just too massive, isn't it? Due to its impressive characteristics, events organized by state institutions and international bodies such as conferences and symposia take place there. After 1989. Well, it holds some conferences, summits. Okay, let's go back. We're not here for... Oh, look at this. And look at this very tasty loaf of bread. What more would you want? Massive church. And kind of try to do it so that you get a sort of main view excitement. You know, you're kind of flashed away by the building itself. Here you have a history lesson of Bucharest, I guess. Romania overall. Different castles. Well, Romania city center is full of these, you know, neoclassicist sort of buildings, which I personally absolutely love. Like, I just can't... I find nothing better. The scale, the colors, the kind of hidden balconies. It's absolutely beautiful, but as you know, we already discussed in the Parisian video, whether or not something is beautiful is relatively irrelevant. So, put your seatbelts on, ladies and gentlemen. We are in here now for the big view. Through here, 3 kilometers. Behind us, 20,000 workers. A building that is still under construction, ladies and gentlemen. Zhoosh. Now, what do you say to this? Well, to be fair, it doesn't look as big on the street view imagery here, but believe me, it is absolutely massive. I happened to have been in Bucharest, which is always somewhat of a pretentious or stupid thing to, you know, say in a side sentence. But anyway, I happen to have been there, and the sensation when you look at the building is very much different from the sensation we have now. It is really so massive that, you know, you stop and think, can that be? You know, is it really so massive? Like, maybe it is the angle, or maybe it is something else, but it is absolutely massive. It is massive, massive, massive. So, I think I've stressed this word enough. Let's have a few more looks at it. I mean, this building alone is a big building, you know? But this, oh my god. I think it looks absolutely crazy. Trying to give you another angle of it. Any idea? This is a person. If you move her. What a comparison, really. SWAT. SWAT team is already around. Romanian flag. And you see Ukraine. A building that's constantly refurbished, never finished, and just absolutely massive. Now, surprisingly, we are able to go inside. We're able to go on the balcony and look at the city. Like, get up in the morning. Hello, Romania. I'm absolutely lost for words. This is a view, oh my god, you know. Like, how is it possible to do that? How is it even possible? It is crazy. It is absolutely crazy. And it goes without saying that the interior is absolutely massive too. Goes also without saying that we cannot go in all 1100 rooms. I mean, it's not like some kind of online game, even though if there was an online game that would just play in this building, it would be already pretty good. It is insane. I'm so lost for words, you know. Wow. Even the cables here are super long, you know. Gosh, imagine you want to install Wi-Fi in this building, or like put a cable, or like you went upstairs to sleep and forgotten something downstairs. Oh, need an electric scooter, I guess. So, let's see if we can have a few more looks at it. Yeah, I mean, on this side it looks a bit different. What in the... Is this like a sausage kind of thing from the supermarket? Ah, Contemporary Art Museum. Well, if you don't know, you'd be quite surprised by this click, wouldn't you be? Let's have a look at a few more rooms. I love this wood as a decoration. Absolutely love it. Like, it's not only massive to build it, they haven't just... It's not like, I mean, it's not like, you know, there are factories. We have talked about the Gigafactory, the Boeing factory. These are massive buildings too, but they are not like luxury buildings. They're not like this, you know. This is just so overwhelming in some many ways. More art spaces. Look at all these companies, you know, that are... Maybe the Romanian Senate or the Constitution or the Parliament is in here, but there are also so many museums. And all of this aside, what was written there? 70% of the rooms are empty. It's just insane. Guess it has a nice echo. Like, let's look at the dimensions of the building alone, so you have an idea. 280. Well, to go around it would be a kilometer. Yeah. Like I really don't know what to say. Here's the balcony we have been to. We haven't been here in the side entrance yet. Oh, I mean, just look at it. 9 floors, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Something like this. I don't know how they count floors in Romania too. The ground, because sometimes the ground floor is like the first floor, sometimes like the ground floor. Yeah, so I have admired the building now. I would like to kind of take another approach and go down the street now, just to show you how this building is put into scene in the broader urban context. No? This looks very sort of like, I'm so tempted to say Parisian, perhaps also Roman, like this long boulevard that is also called Boulevard, leading to this neoclassicist building. No, but in the end of the day, most houses here have the same color. So probably this is the same stone that this has. But here, you know, it's just a kind of residential unit. Residential apartment building. Yeah. It is really just crazy the amount of like massive mega buildings that are to be found in Bucharest city center. On the right is just coming another one now, the National Library, which, you know, doesn't look as big maybe to you as well. Believe me, it is. Good place to stand and get your suntan because of the glass facade. It's gonna reflect. And it's gonna make you feel very, very warm. Now, as I said, here at the end of this boulevard, you know, we can still see the building. That, you know, the street almost looks like it goes down a bit, which I suppose is where they dig out the soil so that the building can stand a little bit higher. No. So to even get a more dramaturgical effect. Like this is such a great example of like architecture and urbanism and how it also like can be thought through or thought about in terms of like how a theater works. You know, you have a sort of stage, you set up a scene, you set up a certain light condition. You also set a certain speed, perhaps, by which you want people to come towards the building. I mean, obviously here's a road, so people are gonna drive towards it or drive away from it. Even this is all crazy, you know? It's like a really cabinet of, what's the saying? I will just say cabinet of wonders. And yeah, perhaps a little look here. We haven't been here. So my thinking was that this here on the left side, we cannot see, is also kind of part of it. Yeah. Let's see. Yeah. I mean, look at this. Like, I mean, just look at this. Isn't this just crazy? Like, I don't know what came to your mind when you thought about Romania, but like, the amount of massive buildings. Wait, I show you another one. It just never ends, you know? Look at this, for example. Absolutely massive. Now, in this case, empty. Probably never finished. But like, this thing just stands here, you know? Well, it amazes me every time the sort of kind of architecture the city has, and the scale and the kind of absolute beauty in a way. Like, I don't know, it's just there's a certain atmosphere to it that I enjoy a lot. But you also know about me that I'm not so much into Paris, so who should be surprised by that? Anyway, guys, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this little trip, even though it was just about one building. I think there was enough to talk about or to mention, at least that's how I felt. And I hope to see you next time. Bye bye.